What's up, you guys? When I see people looking at buying a business and they're trying to evaluate it on their own, there's a common strategy that I see a lot of people try to use that can end up being dangerously misleading. And that strategy and the problems that pop up from that strategy will happen with any business that you're looking to acquire, but it will definitely happen whenever you're looking at buying a FedEx route business. And so I often talk about how valuable it is to understand what a seller of a business is doing operationally to get an idea about what their day-to-day life looks like, what it's going to take to manage and operate this thing to see if it's something that you even want to do to begin with. So what I see a lot of times people will do on their own is they will go and try to do some initial parts of the evaluation on their own. They will try to ask the seller, do you have a manager? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Or are you absentee? Are you semi-absentee? Or are you very hands-on? There's lots of questions like this. The problem is not those questions. The problem is everything that happens after those questions. And so to give you an example of the problems that I'm talking about here, let's say you came up with a real simple, obvious question to the seller. You ask him, do you drive a truck, right? He can answer that in a lot of different ways. One way, he could just straight up lie. He says he doesn't drive a truck, but he actually does. And there's ways to find out, right? He could mislead you. He says he doesn't drive a truck, and he doesn't. But he gets in the passenger seat and helps train all the new drivers to make sure they learn all the protocols and procedures just right, make sure everything is done just perfectly, right? Or he could not tell you the full truth. He says, oh, I haven't driven a truck in several months. Well, that's true. But every time peak season rolls around, he's in a truck driving, and it hasn't been peak season for several months, right? And the worst is they tell you the truth. And so obviously we want people to be able to be honest and truthful with us. That's a great thing. But the reason why this causes problems for most untrained buyers is that it blinds them to the things that the truth can hide. So for example, it doesn't matter if something is true today, if they know in the next contract iteration that comes out, it's going to be different. And maybe that's why they're actually selling, not retiring or pursuing other opportunities or whatever. They know there's going to be some big changes. Maybe they will have to drive a truck for some crazy reason or whatever, and they want out. Meanwhile, they can tell you all the truth in the world, and you're going to be blind to those sorts of things if you're not familiar with what's potentially coming. So what's happening today may not reflect what's happening tomorrow. The other thing is they may be honest about whether they're driving a truck or not, but you need to drive a truck because they're running the business into the ground. And being able to see whether someone is running a well-tuned machine or running a business into the ground, that's difficult. That takes understanding the business on a very deep and intricate level to be able to tell those two sellers apart that's working 5 hours a week. One guy's doing great. The other guy, not so much. And the third thing is that when a seller is telling you the truth, it can blind you to understanding whether that is the true secret to their success. So for example, let's say they're working 40 hours a week and they are driving a truck. And you say, well, I'm going to be able to just put another driver in there and then, I won't have to drive. I don't know why that guy's doing it. He's crazy. He likes to work too much or whatever, right? That may be true and it may not. And it ties into this full idea that I've got here, which is that when you look at these businesses, some of them can be changed and some of them can't. Now, a lot of times they can be changed. So let's say the owner is driving a truck. He's working 50 hours a week. Okay, hire a driver. Now you're good to go. Can you do that in all situations? No, and there's reasons for that. And so some of these businesses, you can change them and mold them to be what you want to be. And this is the problem that I have whenever a lot of people say, well, I don't want this one because the owner is working 50 hours a week and he's driving a truck. Let me go search for the one that's absentee. Well, the one that's absentee might be being run into the ground. You don't want that one. You actually want the first one where the owner is driving a whole bunch. Hire another driver. You're good to go. Problem solved, right? Others, where the guy is working only 5 hours a week, semi-absentee, you may say, oh, that's a good one. I don't have to work. No, you do, because he's running it into the ground. And so a business that seems really good, semi-absentee, wonderful, 5 hour a week operation, turnkey operation, all the crap that we hear over and over with this business, that one might be the worst, and the one where the owner is working all the time might be the best because he doesn't really understand how to operate these things, or he's trying to maximize his cash flow, pay off his loans, whatever it may be, that he doesn't want to hire somebody else. So point is, whenever you see these businesses for sale and you see how the owner is operating them currently, try to take everything with a grain of salt because you may be able to change it dramatically for the better. And sometimes, and most importantly, you can't change it for the better. You can't change a damn thing a bit about it. And I know that sounds weird for people that have bought and owned and operated other businesses because it's a true independent business. But whenever you're dealing with these contractual relationships, things can kind of get a little bit weird sometimes. And that's all I'm trying to say. Don't let an initial sort of thing sour you to a business or make it seem like it's excellent because it might actually be being run terribly and you've got to bail out anyway. So anyway, hopefully this helps out a little bit whenever you're looking at some of these things. If you got any comments, questions, drop them below. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.